Senator, thank you so much for joining us here on GMA3. So in a letter, you actually called on the Transportation Secretary to reverse these FAA layoffs. Has the Secretary responded, and what happens next?
No response to our letter, but he has said that these employees are not critical to safety. In fact, these 400 plus employees are very important to airline safety and travelers because they are the ones who make the air controllers effective. They are the aeronautical information specialists and the air safety assistants and the radar maintenance people. They may not be visible in the air towers, but they are critical to safety, and I'm very disappointed. In fact, I'm really angry, since I fly every week down to Washington, and countless others do as well, relying on these kinds of employees to make airline travel safe. And of course, more personnel are needed, not fewer, and more technology is absolutely vital, not cutting and strangling our air safety system.
It was just a few weeks ago where I was in D.C. I was covering that awful, tragic crash over the Potomac where 67 people lost their lives. What does the FAA need to do now to make people feel safe when they're flying, Senator?
The FAA needs to assure the traveling public that it has sufficient air controllers. Right now, there is a shortage, and there has been for a while, and it's getting worse. And it needs to provide more facts and information. It has been totally non-transparent with the traveling public. And these accidents that have occurred, the crashes in Nome, Philadelphia, Reagan, which you mentioned, and Toronto, are just, in a sense, the tip of the problem, because everybody is familiar with the hundreds, literally hundreds, of near misses that occur every year. And so I think the FAA has to be increased in its capacity, not cut and diminished as the Musk operation would do. And remember, Elon Musk has been fined by the FAA, and he'd like to undercut the kinds of monitoring and work that it does to assure safety. Now, of course, the fines have come from the commercial FAA side on his SpaceX venture, but it still shows the kinds of power he's trying to exert, as well as the increased profits he is making as a result of his action across the board on these 17 plus agencies that have contracts or other dealings with him.
And speaking of Elon Musk, he wants all federal employees to justify their work with an email. I believe that's due tonight, or resign. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, you know, everybody has had a jerk boss. Elon Musk is not their boss. He is acting like a jerk, asking them to, in effect, justify their existence. And understandably, 3 agencies have said to their employees, you don't have to, in fact, you shouldn't have to respond. The Department of State, the Pentagon, and the FBI. Others have said that their employees should. The result has been total chaos and confusion. There is no doubt waste in federal spending. In the Pentagon, for example, there are dollars that can be saved. But it has to be done with a scalpel, not a meat axe. And the justification has to be line item by line item, not an 8% across the board cut as is proposed for the Pentagon.
A lot to watch here. Senator Blumenthal, thank you so much for joining us here on GMA3.